Taurus, welcome to your November 2017 love reading. It's Raina here. This month I'm going to be using Crystal Visions Tarot by Jennifer Galasso. I just received this deck in the mail. And see what you think of the illustrations. So far it's been having a very subdued effect, a very spiritual effect on me in terms of what I have been, I don't know, drawn to talk about and how I've been drawn to phrase it even. So we'll see. Ooh, it's interesting. The Three of Swords and the Five of Swords are pretty, intense cards. But when I picked that Three of Swords, I was like, oh, what a beautiful card, you know? I wasn't seeing it in any kind of negative connotation at all. So, which is kind of nice. Even the Five of Cups is a card that we typically see, and these are more mellow and dreamy, even the ones that are not, which is kind of a good thing. Okay, very good ending to this. So let's talk about this because there are some challenging cards, but that doesn't mean anything. I like that they don't have real, what's the term, dire looking cards. The overall theme is the Moon card. The Moon card, oh, you know what you have, Taurus? You have a full moon in your sign on November 4th. So this could be like timing of when something with you may come to an end. This could be even a long-term relationship. Do not take from what I'm saying. First of all, this is a general reading, so even for people who have Taurus rising, which is part of their natal chart, the 7th house being activated with Scorpio, it all depends on your degree, you know? So for instance, I have Taurus rising, but my 7th house is mainly Sagittarius, not Scorpio. And I actually have a very small 7th house. You have to look at your natal chart to really tell where these transits will lie, and it depends on the degree of the full moon too. But in terms of the Moon card itself, the Moon card is connected to Pisces, and it has that certain flavor that Pisces has of the ideas related to what is real and what is fantasy. The Moon is our creative force. The Moon is, you could even say, the subconscious mind. I think that goes along with the Moon card. Not 100% sure. But definitely things may be revealed at that time for you. And it could have something to do with a committed partnership, because every time there's a full moon, there is an opposition to the sun sign, and in this case we're talking about Scorpio. Well, Scorpio is your 7th house of committed partnership. Again, talking about general 7th house in the universal chart, that would be the case. So there's some kind of a push-pull at the time of that full moon, and it's really about yourself, and it's like, am I growing in this relationship? Is it really the highest and best for me at this time? And you may decide that a relationship is not what you want it to be, and this would be more along the lines of marriage or the equivalent of marriage than somebody you just met 2 months ago, by the way. And so there could be some kind of things along those lines, but it's definitely something within you that you feel a shift of change. This could be a theme for you where you are letting go of certain aspects of yourself. And that's not necessarily easy for a Taurus person to do. The other thing too is forgetting about timing of full moons and things like that. You may just be feeling confused about life, about a relationship. You may feel like there's something that you don't know. I think I just did a weekly reading for Taurus where I said the same thing. I think that was your sign. So this could be an ongoing situation for some people where you feel like someone that you're dealing with is not being straight with you. And in the past position, we have the Two of Swords. So this may be that you have been for a while at loggerheads, either with somebody or with yourself, over what to do, over what decision to make. Maybe you feel torn and you've just kind of like, instead of making a decision, you just said, you know what, I'm just going to sit on this. I'm going to wait this out. I'm not going to try and solve all my problems today. And if that's the case, that may be a good thing to do. Sometimes it is best to just let things go and see where they land. But also, you may be dealing with two different parties, because we do have here the Knight of Pentacles. So this could be another person. Perhaps you're trying to choose between a Pisces or a Cancer person and another Taurus. I associate this card with Capricorn though, but the other earth sign is Virgo. And the Knight of Pentacles tends to be a male who could be under the age of 40, definitely somebody who is a hardworking person, an earth energy. It's connected to Taurus. But again, they tell us when we're learning how to read tarot cards to go with what our interpretation is. And I always interpret it to be Capricorn, but I could see Taurus. The other earth sign is Virgo. So you may be kind of deciding between two people also. That's always a possibility. Or you just lose yourself in your work. And it's almost like sweeping the problem under the rug. But the problem isn't going away. The problem has to be dealt with, whatever this problem is. The higher message is kind of like the spiritual take on the situation, the Three of Swords. Now, as I see this closer, I can see that this woman has been hit by these swords. And I don't know, it almost looks like a tombstone, but I don't know if that's the case. But the Three of Swords is feeling a sense of heartbreak, a sense of rejection through love. It can be a three, I always say a threesome when I mean a lover's triangle that you are a part of in some way. Maybe the Two of Swords isn't you deciding, maybe somebody else is deciding about whether or not they're going to stay with you. That's always a possibility. With the Moon card, you may be making decisions that are not based with full knowledge of what's really happening. Excuse me. But there's a feeling of rejection that you may be dealing with. And the interesting thing about this, I notice this with people who are in toxic relationships, but the other person cheats on them and leaves them, is that they still feel that sting. And if you were to flip the script, if you're in anything resembling this type of relationship and you were to flip the script, Taurus, and instead of feeling rejected, you were saying to yourself, thank God this happened to me because I'm hung up on this person and they are really toxic for my life. So this is really a great day because I'm able to move on with my life. How many people are able to say that though? So many people look at the loss of the situation, of the relationship, first and foremost, as a a statement about their worth, their value. And so even if somebody who is dysfunctional rejects you, you may still feel like, what's wrong with me? Instead of looking at what is wrong with their thinking at this moment, that they are rejecting me. Did you ever think that somebody may reject you because they don't feel worthy of you? I think that happens so often, that people walk away from relationships where the person really loves them because they don't love themselves. And sometimes they may even be attracted to that relationship, that the person is really messed up, the person is not treating them properly, and they'll like be more attracted to that person than the one who's stable, who is really showing them affection. That's a self-love thing. And for you to feel rejected under those circumstances is silly. But, you know, I understand, but I still think it's silly. What crosses you is the Five of Swords. This is another thing that happens where people have a tendency to, and you see, again, stabbing in the back, right? Let me look at this more closely. She's crying. She's stabbed in the back and he's walking away. This is kind of a different depiction. The Five of Swords is about deception and slander. And in this context, another thing I see are people who they get dissed or cheated on, what have you, left for somebody else. And they look at that other person as a rival and they say, why did he go after her? They tell their, let's say it's a woman talking about a man, tell their girlfriends, why did he go after her? I mean, she is like I'm so much better looking than her. I have my life together. I have a great job. She's not even working. I mean, whatever. I mean, she's just like so lame, or she's so messed up. And that kind of thing happens because, I'm saying you, I'm not saying that you're going to do this, but you're trying to feel better about yourself by dissing your so-called rival. And don't do that because that sucks you into this competition and drags you down into a lower vibration. Instead, like I said before, say, thank God I dodged this bullet. You know, obviously this person is not aligned right now with his life. So why should I, you know, shed a tear? I should be like celebrating with my girlfriends. And instead, you might be calling them, gossiping about this other person, and, you know, saying bad things about her because you feel insecure. And that is such a waste of time, and it really does not go along with your highest good. What is coming in, or this could be advice. I think this is more like advice. And I like this depiction. Now you see, again, she's crying. She's not necessarily happy at this moment. Do you see how they do this a lot, where they have two cups that are upright and they're sparkling and they're in the sky, and then they have three that have fallen down. They do this a lot with these depictions because they're trying to show that there is a silver lining in this situation that you may be turning your back on. And this is what I'm talking about, dodging a bullet, getting away from a toxic relationship. But maybe you were the one that would have preferred to leave this person rather than the other way around. That often happens too, where you may be very consciously unhappy in a situation, but, you know, being a Taurus, maybe you procrastinated. You didn't want to change your life, and then the other person left. And then you're like, hey, wait a second. So those kinds of situations, again, don't cry over spilt milk, and see the milk that is, see the cup full of, 2 cups full of nectar that are there for you, for your taking. But it's also, I think it's also as advice, it's also cry your heart out. If you've been in that type of situation, just grieve a loss, but move on. And then the outcome is a beautiful card. Now, it's interesting that they depicted it as this woman being on the horse and the man, you know, usually the man is on the white horse, but they have the woman on the horse. And what I would say about that is that it's a card of, in this particular deck, it's a card of self-empowerment, especially for the women out there who feel like they may have been the victim of somebody not appreciating them and not giving them a certain amount of respect. This is a card of marriage. This is a card of a happy home, maybe a new home. So Taurus, look at that card as symbolism for the fact that now you're making space for this in your life. This could actually be you meeting a person born under the sign of fire, Aries, Leo. That's always common for Taurus people, Sagittarius. And maybe you're falling in love with somebody of that sign. Maybe not in November, but sometime in the future. But just in general, making space for the good to come in by getting rid of the old baggage, okay? Whether you were the one that actually took that step to get rid of it, still, the end result is the end result. And it's like freeing yourself from that which no longer serves you. So it goes back to that theme of that moon in Taurus. The full moon in Taurus. Full moons can be endings, and they can be revelations too. You may have a revelation about yourself, about your tendencies, your patterns. So I'm going to pick a card from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck for you, and for a further message. You know, it's funny. Because when I first saw that Four of Wands, I thought it was Four of Swords, which I got for a previous sign. Time for a nap. Okay. And that kind of reminds me of the Four of Swords, of kind of withdrawing and just kind of renewing yourself. Rest, rejuvenation, and renewal. Temporary non-action, allowing dreams to arise. This is a time to step away and rest. Let the cares of your world go. Go into a state of non-action and allow yourself to be free of the shackles of your goals, your lists, your desires. Nothing is as important as rest, detachment, and neutrality. The overly busy mind can block you from inner wisdom if you don't step back, take a seat, and rest. Be willing to let dreams surface and ideas flow through you, absent any force or conscious direction, as you observe without engagement now. The relationship message of this card is, when it comes to matters of the heart, don't make any plans right now. If you're not partnered, it's good to take this time out to get to know yourself. If you're involved with someone, relax and just be with your partner. This is going to be an uneventful moment in time. Don't force anything now. Allow things to flow naturally, and a beautiful renewal will take place all by itself. Patience is the key to your heart's desire right now. Withdraw from action in your relationship and give it a rest so that your love and connection can become rejuvenated. So that definitely seems to go along with some of these cards as well, in terms of just kind of renewing yourself. You may have been through a lot, and the full moon may be a culmination of that, of kind of getting rid of the old and allowing the new to come in. So I hope you enjoyed this, Taurus. If you'd like a private reading, please click on the link below. Otherwise, have an awesome November. Bye.